Greetings, Bible study leaders. We're off for another exciting week of study in the book of Daniel. There's some few things that I wanted to get to you today. Some of you have quite possibly looked ahead and seen some of the questions. You've recognized that they may be a little more difficult. We're getting a little bit deeper. So I want to give a little bit of explanation. The first point may be good to share with everyone, actually, even before they listen to the video. So when you start, do the normal things that you do with everyone, welcoming and greeting them. Also read the introduction and then start the video. When you do that, he's going to talk about a principle called near and far. Now, a lot of people aren't as familiar with that principle because it is called a number of different things. Some of you may be familiar with it as being called a principle of double references if you've studied in theology at all. Basically what it means, let me simplify this for you. It means that you're referring to something that is happening today or close by you or an event, but it's also a picture of something that is to come. Let me give you an example. This week I was going to be preaching on Ruth and the story of Boaz. Now, Boaz is described as being, it introduces to us the principle of the kinsman redeemer. Now, we understand that Boaz becomes what we call a picture of Jesus, as Jesus is our kinsman redeemer. So someone might say that the principle of the kinsman redeemer is seen both near and far, or they could say it's a double reference. It's a reference to Boaz, but it's also a reference to Jesus. So you're going to see him talk about that, kind of the way he portrays it. It's not as easily understood. So you may want to utilize that or explain that to the people before you start. Now, that principle is done with three people in the Word of God. When things are done, whether prophetically or a story shared, it's generally as an allegory towards Christ, the Antichrist, or towards Satan. And so he'll tell you a few instances when you look at where the Bible is speaking of the king of Tyre. It's actually speaking about Satan. It's doing a principle that's near, someone that's near, but understanding what's behind that or what's going to be. You'll understand it a little bit more as you watch the video, but sharing that principle with the people in advance is going to help them. Then that's also the answer to question number one. So when they look through that, and question one is, what does the biblical method of near and far fulfillment do? So you can share that with them. It's a passage applying primarily to a person or human event that's used to apply to either Christ, the Antichrist, or to the devil. Question number two, and some of these are going to be a little bit easier after you get past one. Number two, what historical ruler provides insight to the character and practices of the Antichrist? And you'll see that's actually even answered in number three. So it makes it a little bit easier for you. Antiochus Epiphanes. If I say that correctly, it's a tough one to pronounce. But it asks the second part of that question, gives some specific examples of how this ruler sheds light on the person of the Antichrist. And the way that happens is he'll talk to you about what is seen in the near principle, what we would see as the desolation that was brought to the temple, and then what's prophesied that's going to happen with the Antichrist. And so this Greek ruler comes in and he's tearing out and looking to destroy the religious practices of the Jews to make them all become Greeks. He brings a pig in, slaughters the pig in the temple, throws its blood everywhere, and also establishes the statue of Zeus right in the Holy of Holies. So he's looking to kill the Jewish heritage. That's the answer to number two. What is the correlation? In question number three, what he does is he attempts to politically and religiously, listen to this, He does it to integrate the Jews and then to wipe out Judaism. So what he's trying to do, he does kill a number of Jews, but he doesn't go in and annihilate the nation of Israel. He goes in and tries to convince them to become Greeks. So what he does is, instead of the annihilation, it's coming in and we're going to make you like us. Instead of worshiping Jehovah, you're going to worship Zeus with us. Well, the Antichrist comes in at the end, and you'll see the correlation where it talks about tearing some of the stars, or causing some of the stars to fall from the sky and to trample them. It's bringing the believers to become like us. They fall from who they are, what they stand for, who they believe in. And then, of course, his desire is to, just like the devil, to steal, kill, and destroy. And so he tramples them. The fourth question is something that you can go back and forth with your people. The bottom line is prophecy is real. Daniel shows that prophetic books of the Bible are real. Question number 5 is one that is up for much debate, because you're gonna have people see what they believe they've heard about the Antichrist, and the question is, based on the study of Daniel thus far, summarize what's been discovered about the Antichrist. And the couple things that you want to emphasize on are what it says, especially in Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. He attempts to blaspheme God. He wants to become and replace God. That's the analogy back to establishing Zeus in the temple. It's the changing of us worshiping Jehovah, and now his desire is for us to worship him, just like it was in the very beginning, where Satan wanted to set his throne above God's. And then in Daniel 7, and also in Revelation chapter 13, verse 5, we're told that he's given power for 42 months, or 3.5 years. So there's other things that people are going to debate. And once again, the importance is not to get them to believe exactly everything that you or I believe, but it's to talk and to understand what's coming, so that we will not fall when we see these things, either in our lifetime or in our children's. Once again, I believe it's going to be an incredibly blessed week. Enjoy the time with your people. Get to know them. Pray for one another. There's a lot of folks going through attacks and various challenges right now. Make sure you're taking some time to pray with one another. God bless you. We'll see you all soon.